Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live stream live. I am your host, Joshua Schubart, and I hope you are having a wonderful, fine Monday, New York evening, or wherever you are. I'm in New York. For the first time ever, we are live on 4 platforms. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and for the first time ever, we are live on the TikTok. I'm very excited about that, and I am so happy that we are streaming live on all 4 of these magical platforms. As usual, we are brought to you by Lucas Roasting Company. They are a wonderful New Hampshire micro batch coffee roaster. I've known them for years and years and years, and I love them very, very much. In my opinion, they are some of the best coffee in the country, and in fact, they just won best coffee in New Hampshire for the 5th year in a row. So you can use my special code, the live stream live, for 15% off your first internet order. And that is either linked under the video, and if you're watching on Instagram or on the TikTok, it is in my bio. That is the live stream live, and that is Lucas Roasting Company, some of the best coffee in the world. So I have a cool show for you tonight. My very special guest is talent manager Ingrid French, and she's my manager, and she said yes to coming on the show, which makes me feel very special and very happy. So I will bring her up soon, but I will first talk about my week and about my day and what I've been watching and so on and so forth. So also there are multiple comment streams going on at the same time, so I'm going to try to see them all and field any questions or comments that you might have for me or have for Ingrid about the industry or about anything at all. Just as long as it's appropriate and not weird or hypersexual, we're gonna have a great time. Thanks. So my oldest is currently dealing with some kind of night sickness. She wakes up in the middle of the night and she's been vomiting, which has been just the best thing in the whole world, as you can imagine. My wife and I are dealing with it. So is Fitz. She's like a champion. She's still eating and she's still going to the bathroom, all that stuff. So everything's okay-ish. We're just trying to work it out. We have her on some anti-nausea stuff, and it's been a trying time, as you can imagine. So hopefully everything works out soon, and everything will be great. As for what I've been watching, so I'm still watching season 2 of Severance, which is an incredible, amazing show. If you haven't been watching it, you should be watching it, and I hope that you do watch it very soon. It's just such a mind fuck of a show, and it's also so well written and acted, and they're unraveling this incredible mystery. And it's really incredible. I like it a lot. And I just started watching Foundation, which is also on Apple Plus. I have a lot of time because I'm with my newborn a lot, and she's got to eat, and she eats out of a bottle, so I just watch some fun shows. But Foundation is based off of the book series by Isaac Asimov. He's the I guess the grandfather or the creator of modern science fiction, and his work is just fantastic, and I've loved it since I was a kid. And to watch it done in such a magnificent way, well shot, the CGI isn't shit, and it's beautifully acted. I'm late to the party here. There's so much stuff to watch, but I managed to catch up on everything. Hey Bubba, how are you, man? It's nice to have you here. Thanks for coming to my live stream. And then I did talk a bit last week about just the state of things in the world and how everything is kind of feeling kind of heavy and weird. I am optimistic despite some of the things that's been that have been coming out of Washington, and between executive orders and people being removed from our country's history, and members of the LGBTQIA plus community feeling extremely terrible, and rightly so. It's just finding your people, grouping up together, and finding a community to be with and to be a part of. And we should be able to get through this together. We just gotta link arms and scream really loud, and it should be okay. because that's how things have historically gotten done in the past. I watched this movie, Trial by Fire with Laura Dern, and it's on Netflix now. It came out in like 2002 or 2003, and it's based off of a real story of a guy who is accused of burning his children to death using a can of gasoline in this town in Texas, and then he didn't actually do it, and the police just like pin it on him, and the DA just like pays off like a people. It's really fucked up, but it like happens a lot. And then they discover that, all this evidence that would exonerate him, and then they kill him anyway. I mean, I don't mean to laugh about that, but it's crazy. And I guess it happens more than we think it does, I guess. And also I was kind of expecting like we got the evidence, like a normal movie like this, and we got the evidence, and he still got lethal injection, which was nuts. And then the movie ended. So while I was happy to see a film take a risk and not change the ending or to make it happier, I was very struck by it as a father, obviously, and then watching a father who hadn't burned his children then die for not doing that. Yeah, it's crazy. Thank you for saying that I'm your favorite actor. I love you too, Linz. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. That's a lovely comment. All right. I think that's all I'm thinking and feeling at the moment, and I've been watching. So look, I'm very happy to introduce my next guest. Her name is Ingrid French, and she is a talent manager. We've been working together this is our 10-year anniversary. And there's nobody that I've ever met that works as hard for people as Ingrid French. I count myself lucky every day that when I first met her, I told her exactly what I wanted to do in this industry, and she believed me. It was one of the most wild days in the beginning of my career when somebody that I really wanted to meet and work with watched me work, thought that I was good, and then believed me when I told her what I wanted and what my goals were. And then listened to me in her office for, I think it was like an hour and a half, where we just sat there and spoke about like what I hoped my career arc would be. And then she went about, and we matched each other's energy, and we helped build my career to the point that it is right now. And I've had such an amazing career so far, and it's so far from over. And I largely have Ingrid French to thank for that. When you find people that believe in you and that are also your people personally, it's very special, especially in an industry like this. I call her like the kindest badass you will ever meet, because she is exceptionally kind and wonderfully caring and extremely empathetic. But when the time comes to negotiate your rate or your terms, she is psychotically badass, and she leaves nothing on the table. And I just can't wait for you to meet her. Hi, Ingrid.
Hi, thank you. That's so nice.
Oh, well, it's all true. It's all true. It's so true, Ingrid.
I appreciate that. Oh man, it is. It's like so cool to work with people that you really like. And I remember meeting you and thinking, wow, not only is this guy talented, but he's such a cool guy.
Oh, thank you. That's cool of you to say. Thanks.
I love that. I love when you meet somebody and they're everything you think they're going to be and more.
I am glad that I lived up to the hype that I projected, because I'll be honest, I've worked with quite a few people over the years, and even before I met you, I worked with three other managers, and nobody, I didn't believe anybody. Everybody just kind of was just like talking out of their ass, and you can tell it's just like a script that people say. And I met you, and I didn't know what to expect. I heard about you from other people. I heard that you were nice and that you listen, and I was like, all right, so maybe she just is nice and she listens, and then she goes home. but um but that's all that I knew. And then our conversation was very um specifically intelligent, if that makes sense. Every You were the first conversation that I had with a rep where um it was like point counterpoint, and then we lost track of time, and then they made me leave the room. And um it was just a wildly, like, it was like a chemistry read for like a TV show or something. It worked out, and it's been working out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. I love it. I know. I felt the same.
So you opened your doors in 1999, right?
Yes, I know. It's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, but that's also super impressive. It's 2025. You've made it through a pandemic and strikes, and you've managed to keep the same core people on your team. I mean, like Deanna, Tom, and Alexander are they've been there for as long as I've been, and they're all amazing also. And that speaks a lot to you and the way that you run your office, that people want to stay.
Thank you. Yeah, no, they're amazing, wonderful, and we work so well together that I feel like it's great. And I'm very fortunate and thrilled to have the crew that we do in the
Awesome.
office.
What did you so what was it before 1999? Like, what were you doing pre, like, I'm gonna be a manager now, or yeah.
Yeah. Well, I am from North Carolina. I moved to New York. I moved here with a journalism degree, thinking I was going to work in journalism and
Oh, wow.
interviewing for journalism jobs. And while I was interviewing for journalism jobs, a lot of them were informational interviews at that point. I was like, I need a job now. So I ended up applying to be an assistant at a talent agency, thinking I was applying for a lot of stuff, but I was like, oh, whatever I can do. I'd been waiting tables all through college and after, and I thought, you know what, I want to do something different. I want to work in an office. That's just what I wanted to do. And so I was like, whatever it is, I want to find something. And I ended up starting out as an assistant at a talent agency and absolutely loving how fast paced and hectic, but how fun, and the days, no 2 days were alike. My first day was just, I thought, wow, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this. This is so much fun. So I kind of, pretty soon after, almost immediately kind of quit interviewing for journalism jobs and thought, this is what I want to do. So I started out assisting at a talent agency.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Which one?
It was the A Plus agency. It had been around, many years ago, but it had been around then for about 30 years and then went out of business.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Does that happen a lot? Like, where there's like an agency that's been around for forever and then just kind of goes away?
It's interesting because around that time period, there were a few that it happened to. And then post-pandemic, we've seen a few the last few years, and it's been a while, I feel like, since there was sort of that, oh, wow, there's a couple really big ones. It's kind of unusual,
Abrams,
but I
and that
feel
was
like
a big shock.
Yeah. It does. It happens. I mean, I feel like with all these, with offices, it can happen, and crazy life events, things, all of a sudden, everything changes.
Yeah, that's wild. What do you, this is going to be like I don't know if it's going to be a weird question, but what do you attribute your longevity to? Like, is it a diversification of what you do? Is it like ironclad relationships in the industry? Like what do you think?
I think it's probably a whole lot of factors all combined. I work with a wonderful group of actors and have been able to build that roster over the years, and I feel like that's been wonderful. I do feel like I have great relationships with casting directors and have been able to sustain and grow those. I also just really love what I do, and I think sometimes when you work and do something that you really love as much as you work and as much as I work, sometimes nights, weekends, holidays,
Yeah.
whenever the work is, it sort of doesn't always feel like work. It's fun. I mean, I'm on my vacation, I'm on the computer, and I don't have to be. I could, but it's kind of I like to be. I like doing what I do.
Right. I mean, yeah, and you have your own family. You have 3 kids.
Yes.
It's a thing that I've always found to be so I'm just going to use the word spectacular about you is that you still give your all to your children and your family, and you still find time to reassure me that I don't suck at acting. Like it's like
I think that's a quality that I feel like I've seen. I think I'm sort of a natural nurturer a little bit, and I do find that a lot of managers that I know and respect have a similar quality, are good nurturers. And I think that's something that I thank you for saying that. And I do. I have 3 sons who I love so much. I love being a mother to them. And, I think that nurturing quality is something that I like to bring, into the office. And I feel like what I do is help, nurture careers and clients. And I want what's best for them. And I want to work for and as hard as I can to, bring about as much as I can in terms of opportunity for them.
That's fantastic. I mean, we never spoke about this really, but you're the reason that I was able to come to the realization that I could have my own children. I swear, for a long time, I was like, there's no way I can do it. How the fuck am I going to have enough time? And then you've had 3 kids since I've like known you, and
you're on your way.
And
you're
like,
catching up quick.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, I can do this. Like, if Ingrid can have clients and get them work and help them and help me and have all this time to do it, then I can do it too. And then I did, and I realized that you don't have any fucking time. You just you just make it work. You just do it because it's true. Like you said, like you love it, and like you love it. Like this work is as important to me as is my family, and my family just enriches it all.
I know. I think that I love the lives that my clients have outside of the work we do together. And I think it's true with you. Absolutely. And I've seen it in other clients' careers as well, where when they have families or they have other outside passions, interests, it's wonderful to see what that does to the work that they do, where you think like, oh, they're going to be pulled. They're going to be, it's going to take up time. They're not going to be able to do this. And instead you see just these additional wonderful layers to their work. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm doing the best work I've ever done in my life since I've had kids. And that's a thing that you have brought up to me, is that like my work has gotten better. And I agree with you. And I think a large portion of it is that I do have all this new like trauma and love and like all that stuff going on, but you just don't have time anymore. Like you don't have time to like question your choices. Right. So it's less like, oh, was that bad? Like it's like, I don't have time to think about if this is bad. This first take needs to be good, or this take 2 needs to be the one, because my kid's gonna wake up and like ask for pudding. Like I gotta get this shit on. I gotta get this shit done. Yeah.
I was just having a conversation like that with my oldest son the other day, because he's taken on a lot with school and activities. And I was telling him, when I had kids working and when I was running the marathon, I think the more constraints and things that come in and take your time, sometimes the more you're able to do. And you think, how did I add this or this? And I'm getting it done. And you have to sort of really prioritize things. You have to make quick decisions. You don't have all the time to belabor certain things. You just gotta do it. And it's interesting how that works.
It is. And it's also interesting how, like, I've only added new things to my stuff since having kids, like more voiceover stuff. I have this show now that I didn't have before, just things like that. It's like, once you get better at doing stuff, then things happen faster and faster. And then I find myself getting bored. Like I get bored. Like it was just me and the baby, because my wife took our oldest on like a special vacation to Mohican Sun, so that they could go in the pool. Because you got to do those things to make the like older kids feel nice. And I remember, like, every time that I would put Millie down for like a nap, I would just kind of like stand around. I'd be like, I don't have anything to do right now. Like, I wish I had something else to do. And so I just started to like write. I was like, I have a free 9 hours today. I'm just gonna start writing a script. Like, you certainly you become like a master of time, and it's pretty cool.
It is really cool. And it's wonderful. And that's one of the things I love about you, is just that's how your mind works. It's like, no, I'm not going to sit and veg on the couch. Let me write. Let me start this. Let me do this. You're always bringing new things.
It gets a bit maddening for my wife, I will say, because she's just like, can't you just like sit down? And I'm like, I'll sit down and we can watch a TV show that like fits into my type and my branding and my vibe, so I can learn what it's like when I audition for it. You want to do that? And most of the time it's no, because she wants to watch like I don't know, like Top Chef, which I'll watch too. But yeah, like it's a constant like tug of war with like me, like, but this is good for work. And then she's like, but what about relaxing? I'm like,
yeah. How do we do that?
what's that for?
I know.
Do you remember the first person that you ever got a job?
Oh my goodness. I don't know if it's interesting, because when I don't really remember it from the agency I worked for, but when I first started managing, when I left the agency I was working for and started managing, I took a handful of clients, but I was really just sort of dipping into my friend and acquaintance pool initially of like, I know you'd be great for this. And that was sort of how I got started, because I was like, I need money now. How are we going to get people on this? So it's that like connecting thing. I'm trying to think of a specific one. I don't know if I had one. I remember I booked a friend of mine who just happened to be super tall on a Staples commercial, and that's was awesome. Just literally because they needed somebody over 6'5" and he was 6'6", and I was like, you got to go to this.
Sometimes that's just what it is, right? Like, it's like, hey, we need a guy with a longer beard, and you got one of those. Let's just get you the fuck in there. Yeah. The industry is weird like that.
It is. It's kind of it's cool and it's interesting that you get those kind of just random calls for things that you're like, oh wow, let me think. Who do I know? And obviously you have your client list, but sometimes it's like, let me think. But yeah, that was just, when I was very, very first starting out. But I'm trying to think of some of the big I don't know. I think one of the things that I always just think about is how different everybody's path is. Sometimes it's just like that. I need this person for this, and they audition and book something, and then somebody else, it's, we look back, and I think we've done this where we sort of look like, well, you did this, and then that person saw this, and then they called you in for this. And I think that's one of the things that I love most about what I do, is that it's so different for each person and each client in terms of what opportunity leads to what's the first thing that they book or they get, and how does that lead to, or not even book, like what's a great audition or callback or, something that's happened for them that's then led to a big
Yeah, I mean,
opportunity.
you calmed me down really well, like for that movie that I got to the call back on, and then like we got really great feedback on it, and then I was like, Ingrid, this fucking sucks. And like you were like, Josh, that's really good feedback. Like it's really good. Like you should be happy about that. And I was like, I fucking know. Like I know.
I
but
know.
but
And
I'm
sometimes you
still
just need somebody, you need another, perspective because
you're really good at that. Like you're really good at because I know like with me specifically, and I know that we don't have the same relationship as you do with your other clients, is that because you've taken the time to get we've taken the time to like get to know each other, and we've been working together for so long that like you get how I work in here. And it's just really I need a person like you every once in a while, because I don't look for like reassurance a lot, and you're one of the few people that I know will tell me the truth. So like I know that if you say something's good or that's great feedback, it's not bullshit. So like if I'm feeling weird, I'm like, Ingrid, is this bad? And you're like, no, it's great. I'm like, oh good, it's great. Like it's actually great. Which is cool, because a lot of people will just lie to you.
Yeah.
They will.
Well, and I always feel like that doesn't serve anybody, it's like we all want to do our best. And, as a manager, I always want to make sure you or any client is doing their best work, putting their best work out there, and absolutely encourage. And then if there is anything, feedback wise that I get for somebody, I'm always going to share that, because I want them to, be able to feel joy with the wins, right, and the good stuff. And also, if there's something constructive that somebody says, you never know,
No, it's true. I mean,
it
could change everything. And
yeah,
also a lot of the times the majority of your work is only being like seen by your reps and by the casting directors and things. Like, so they're the people that are watching your work the most. So and that's just like it's kind of like a sad reality of it, is that like, not that it's sad, but it's but it's like I have hours and hours and hours and hours of things that I've done that, and a lot of it's really great, and it's never going to get past a certain point. And that's so just being able to know that like another professional or two professionals have watched it, and people that you respect have seen it, that becomes the thing that's the win, right? Like it's absolutely like you move past this, like the booking is I booked it so it's good. That's not true. Like you could have booked it for some other reason, like not because of your audition, right?
Absolutely. There's so many things that come into place that I feel like you can never really get, it's almost a distraction to think like, why didn't I book it? It's the work. And you're somebody that enjoys the process. And I love that. I mean, you're excited when you read the sides or you read the script. Yeah. And, I think I'm that way too. When I read a great breakdown, or when I look at great sides or read a wonderful, script, it is exciting. I feel like that's what, I think that's also, for me, that's my journalism background. I love great stories. I tell people all the time now, I'm not necessarily telling stories, but my clients are telling stories. And so the journalism part of me that has always loved storytelling, I feel like is alive and well. And my clients,
I don't know if that's true though, because you specifically are placing people into a story that that they can tell, right? So it's
part of the process.
Yeah,
right?
It's very symbiotic in that in that way. Like when we first started working together, my awareness for what I could do was pretty narrow, and you were like, you can also do this, and this. And I was like, I don't think so. What the fuck are you talking about? And like, you're like, no, you can. Like, you can. And then I did. And then I was like, and I'm not even just talking about like you're the reason I'm a model. Like I would never have been a model before. I wouldn't never have even thought about it. and then you were like, hey, I got this thing for GQ, do you want to do it? And I remember we spoke about it. I was so hesitant. I was like, I don't think so. Me, I don't. Shit. I was like, I don't. Oh my! I just knocked over my microphone. I don't think. I was like, I don't think I should do that. I don't think I have the look for a modeling. And then you were like, shut the fuck up.
But
And
you're
then I
great because
booked
you
it.
go for it. You do it. And I think that, that's huge. And yeah,
Yeah, I gotta try.
you were their pick. You were the choice. I feel like that's awesome.
It was a huge deal. Like, it was my first modeling gig ever was in G fucking Q. Like, I
I
was
know
in GQ. It was
that
this
is
huge
that's a
win.
big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's nuts. I mean, the way that you've listened to me, and I'm sure the way that you listen to the rest of your clients, like I was on the tick because you remembered our conversations about that. That's specifically the type of thing that I wanted to be doing. And we have those types of conversations all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I was
go.
just gonna say, I always feel like there's a certain number of hours and minutes I have in the day, when I do the extra pitches or pushes for things. And that's exactly I always say, the better I know clients, the more I can do for them, because just like that, those types of things, when I know what really excites somebody, that's what I'm going to spend that time that day when I can pitching them for that.
And what I find really cool is that whenever I see something and I'm like, oh, what about like you're like, I already did it, so cool. And I'm like, all right. And I'm like, awesome. I'm glad, like, it's like, and I know that too. Like, I was like, Ingrid's probably already submitted me for this, or she's already pushed me for it, but just in case.
Yeah. Well, that was good. It's always nice to see, like, oh yeah, we're on the same page. Oh yeah,
it feels good. Like, it feels like it just continues to make sense, which is great, and that's what you're looking for. Did it start off? I'm just gonna jump. Did it start off slowly? Like, was it a slow burn for you when you opened up in 1999, and then it just because now, like, people are like bothering you like crazy to like work with you all the time. Like, I have people asking me questions about you all the time, being like, so how do I get with Ingrid? Why do that? And I'm like, I don't know, submit to her. I'm not gonna use up all my like referrals on everybody, like, but can't, like, how did you stay, because the beginning is so hard, right?
It is hard, but I thankfully I did bring, when I started, relationships that I'd already been able to cultivate and have with casting directors, so I could make those calls of, hey, I'm going out on my own, so that was wonderful. But it was just me, and so there's work that has to be done to, when you're at an agency, there's just so much that comes in because it's an agency that's been around for 30 years. And then when you start off on your own, you're sort of, one, making sure everybody knows where you've gone and what you're doing. And at the same time you're doing that, making sure you've got the calls coming in, then it's like, okay, now I need to really develop my client roster, because I need to have the people when I'm getting the breakdowns and the things that, can fit it. But you always want the right clients. I always say, I want to be as professionally passionate about the clients that I work with and for as I can be, because that's what's exciting to me. When I meet somebody, when I look at their materials, I think to myself, I'm going to be emailing this person, talking to them, texting with them, pitching them, talking about them to casting people. And is it somebody that I'm excited enough about and want to do that? And do I believe in them and their work enough to do that? So it's a little bit of, it was a build for sure to, make sure that I was adding on the clients that I really believed in and was passionate about. And also, continuing to nurture the relationships that I had with casting directors, and always looking to add to that. And so yeah, it's a balancing.
So is that why you chose management over agency, because you wanted to have a more personal look? Just so people don't know, what is the difference between a manager and an agent, Ingrid?
So, that's one of those questions. If you ask 10 people, you get sort of 10 different takes on it. But I think that as a manager, you work with your client in everything they do. And in addition to submitting them for projects and pitching them for things, you're also working with them, kind of in everything, giving advice and recommendations. And so you can, as an agent, and with a lot of agencies, although there are boutique agencies where it's a little, different or smaller, but with a lot of agencies, you have such a huge client list that you just don't have the time to, have that personal relationship and attention with clients sometimes. And I think that was something that was really important to me. And also, I really enjoy working. I like the holistic approach and working with an actor that I feel like you can have as a manager, where you're working with them in all areas of their career. You're not just, as an agent, you might be a theatrical agent or a commercial agent, or, you have oftentimes a specific area. And then within larger agencies, as an agent, you may only work with a certain set of casting directors. You're
Sure.
not covering all of it. And so I think for me, I just wanted to work with my clients in everything, and be a part of all that they were doing. And that's what was really interesting to me. And I think even when I worked at an agency, there never seemed to be enough time in the day to do everything you want to do, with and for a client. And that happens as a manager too,
I'm sure.
sometimes. But still,
Yeah.
I feel like I found that the style in which I like to work, I felt like was more the managerial style of just really getting to be on the journey with the client and then partner with different agents and, be a part of that building of the team for them.
Mm. No, and that's great. I mean, your authenticity is a thing that doesn't exist a lot in the industry, especially at the representation level. Like I've met a lot of folks, and I think that a lot of folks are great. You allow people in to your world, maybe a little bit more than most do. And I think that's like your superpower, is that your empathy is your superpower. And I don't know how you haven't lost it over the years, like being in New York, being in the industry in New York, and it's beautiful, and it's why people love to work with you, and people wanna work with you. So it's rad, man. It's rad.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks so
welcome.
much.
It's true.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just gonna say
appreciate
nice things for the whole hour, so you're just gonna have to deal with that.
Yes, keep it up.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, what do you look for in an artist? Like, what are some, like, people say that they look for an it factor, which I know is very generic. But like, what is the thing that that attracts you to an artist?
Generally, the first thing I see about somebody for the most part is their work, whether I'm watching them,
So it
perform a
begins
scene
with the work.
with the work. Yeah. I mean, I think it's when they're lost in a role or a character or a scene or what's happening, when I get lost in it with them, that's the thing that really strikes me. There are times where I'm watching a show at a theater, I'm watching a showcase, I'm watching somebody do a monologue in my office or at an event, and I forget where I am. Whenever that happens, when I'm just taken out of where I am for a second, and it can be for a second, it can be for their whole piece, it can be for moments, but I'm so caught up in what they're doing. That sort of, I'm like, wow, that's kind of, something I love to see. But I love watching the choices people make with the roles. I love being transported into what's happening in their scene or show because of the wonderful work that they're doing. But I think that's something that, like, if I looked at sort of who my clients are and how I met them or when I saw their work, with so many of them, it is because I completely got lost in the moment of whatever they were doing when I first
That's
saw
awesome.
them.
That's fantastic. No, but that's what it should be. I mean, a lot of people don't. I mean, I've worked with a lot of people that have told me to my face, like, I don't got people that look like you, so I think I should work with you because of the way that you look. And I'm like, what does that even mean? And they're like, you look like, you're like a normal guy. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, you're like a normal guy. You got a beard. You're big. Normal guy. And I'm like, that's not a reason to work with me. Like,
right. Yeah. I feel like it starts for me with the work. And yeah, I mean, you notice when you're watching somebody do their work, or then when you chat with them after or whatever, you start to see the rest of it. And yeah, if I get an email of somebody, I might look at their headshot or their resume or something like that if I see that first. But I feel like when I see the work, that's what it is. And then it's also, after I like somebody's work, then it's always a conversation. And sometimes, you start talking and it's like, yeah, they what I see is exactly what they're telling me they are and what they're doing. And it's just, I feel like that's always a good thing. And then sometimes it's not, sometimes you meet and start talking to somebody and I hear what they think and how they see themselves, what they want to do. And what my vision was as I saw them was something totally different. And I think, wow, I just don't know if our visions align. You want something very different than what I see. I'm not sure that we're on the same page. And sometimes, you meet somebody and you think their work is really wonderful, but then I think, I don't know that I'm the right person for you and you're the right person for me, because I think you need to find somebody that shares the vision that you have.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I'm seeing something else.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I mean, that's and that's also really real too. And that's that, like I said, like that's really honest and very observant and just very good. I don't know what else to say, but like, it's just people need that. Like, actors need that. They need, like, to be told, like, I think you're great, but I don't know what to do with you. And somebody else probably does, like, and I don't want to waste our time.
Yeah. And I think when actors hear that, sometimes they think, oh, that's awful. I don't want to hear that. And I'm like, It's honestly a gift, because that person's not the right person for you.
If you don't want to work with them.
Yeah, that's not who you as an actor want to work with. You want to work with somebody that gets you and sees you and knows what they're going to be submitting and pushing you for, and that listens and is on the same page as, what you as an actor want to be doing.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you'll find the right person the same way, with any relationship. I feel like you find what fits, and
it really does click. Like, it clicked like crazy when I first started talking to you. Like, I was like, this person I was like, this person understands who I am and I get her too. And it's really strange how it clicked in like that. Like, I mean, I've always worked better with women just in general. It's just, I feel like women just know more than everybody else. And it's why most of my team is women, just because, like, I actively seek out women to work with. I'm sure it has to do something with, like, my past or something like blah blah blah, but like, or I'm just a big feminist and I like to work with work with women.
That might be it too. Yeah, you're fully surrounded. Wife, 2 daughters, female manager, female agent. You're like,
I love it. I love that energy. Like, I thrive in it. Like, I'm super masculine and I own that shit. I love to work out. I got a beard, a deep voice. I'm very tall, but like, feminine energy is just so much stronger than a masculine energy. It just really is. I mean, watching my wife give birth twice, that was like, that changed my life. And and not in like a weird like way that like men say, they're like, oh, that fucked me up forever. No, like, watching her do the most powerful thing that you can possibly do in our species was life altering. it made me realize how weak and shitty I am, but in the best possible way. Yeah.
That's so
Like I would never be able to do that ever. I know that. Like if I had to birth a human, I would just be like, I'm just gonna die. I'll just go die. I can't do that. But she did it twice, and both times she was like, that was fucking awesome. Like literally, like she was like, I did that. I fucking did that. And I was like, you did.
That's
You did
awesome.
one of the hardest things I've ever seen, and you're walking around. You did it 3 times.
It's wild. It is. It's amazing, and
It's so cool.
That's so cool to hear.
And also, women have been through so much more just in general than I'll ever go through. Like I've been through a lot in my life, but I'm still a man, right? So, I mean, just a woman having to get to a certain place in any career, in any profession takes longer. There's more obstacles, and you have to be just on top of your shit. So I think that's probably why I like to work with women too, because like if you're doing it well, then you're a powerful, no nonsense person, but you're also very kind. So it's awesome. It's just a whole thing. Like you're so badass and you're so kind. Like I said in the beginning, but yeah.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome so much. Is there anything that's like a absolute deal breaker when it comes to meeting someone or working with someone for the first time, other than the obvious, like they're psycho, they sexually harass you, they like other than like you're maybe don't align with the same vision? Like what's the thing that kind of like is like, I don't think we should do this anymore?
I think some of the things I look at the way people come to me, if they write me an email, if they not so much these days, but like before the pandemic, people might stop by the office, or you meet somebody, and sometimes the way people present themselves, what they put forward, how they are in dealings, I just feel like it's not, I don't think it's somebody that I would want representing me, my office, with casting. Like what I'm seeing of them is not something that I would trust or want to send out or in front of people or to a set. And, I think over the years, I learned over and over again in this business that people want to work with cool people. I want somebody that when I recommend them, when I pitch them, I can fully and wholeheartedly say, which I do about my clients, you're going to love this person. They're a wonderful person. Like, yes, they're a good actor, but that's sort of, that's the standard. Like that's the minimum. Like you got to be a wonderful
baseline. Yeah.
That's your baseline. And then, but you want somebody that you want to work with. And, I think casting directors want that. And that's something that, casting directors will talk to reps about. And I'll say that to somebody. I say that when I pitch clients to agents. I say it when I send them to casting people. And I know from talking to casting people, they're doing the same thing to the rest of the team, to the producers and the director. It's like everyone asks people, tell me what's the person, what do they like? And so it's at every level, like you have to be able to sort of sign off on the people. And, so I always want to make sure. So that's something that if I just don't feel like there's somebody that I could really recommend, and people have different personalities. There are definitely people that are more difficult than other people. There are people that have, different demands or come from different backgrounds. And so that's not to say everybody has to be like happy, joyful, and, whatever. But I think, that some people work in certain ways and different than other people, but ultimately you want to recommend people, and I do, that, you feel like are going to be adding value to the sets and the rooms and the, and it is such a collaborative process at every stage. And I think, that's something that I look for, is people that realize that they're part of a team. It's not a, one person.
I really do. That's the thing that I feel like is super, super important. Like all of that, what you just said, is that it really is one big giant pile of relationships, and you have to cultivate and and be a part of relationships with so many people. And you can't, like, you just can't be a weird fuck. Like, you really can't. Like, and you genuinely have to care about the people that you're around and working with. Like, that's what I feel like is so interesting and so unique to our industry, is that, like, we all genuinely care about each other.
Yeah.
To a certain point, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, I've never come to your apartment. I've never met your family. Like, we've never had like a personal chat on the telephone where, like, we've just called each other and talked about, you know, the OC or some shit, right? Like, but we've certainly gotten to know each other. I've gotten to know casting directors as people, and we know things about each other that are on a personal level that, like, it's like an an appropriate level of personal intimacy that lets us all coexist in this, like, art pile. I don't know what else
Yeah.
how else to say that,
Yeah,
right? Like,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
if you're like the weirdo at Thanksgiving, nobody's gonna want to work with you.
I know. And when auditions were in person, everybody sort of got a little bit of a different, you got to sort of see how people were in the room, how they treated, the person at the front desk, how they did, just sort of the dynamic of the energy somebody has. And
Right.
it's different, over self-tape and virtual, and you don't get that. So I think that's where everybody depends even more on sort of that, vouching for people
Oh
and
yeah, I
their.
can't imagine what it's like for the new actors now. Like, thank God I met as many people in person as I did when I was doing when I was, like, lighting myself on fire, meeting every fucking casting director in the world. But if I didn't do that in the pandemic, like, no one, God, fuck, like, just seeing people on tape and not knowing who they are, and then no one's asking for, like, a personality, like, snippet or anything to just like talk about your dog or whatever. Like, no one's doing that. I feel like they should like be like, talk about anything for 30 seconds
Yeah.
and see what that's like. But
I know. It's
yeah,
funny
like,
though. You know what I think though? I do think you can tell about people in their slate. I think you can tell a lot about people even when they just slate their information.
I think so too. I do also try really hard to, like, put me in my slate.
Yes.
And I think you should, like, so people say casting has said in the past, and this was pre lockdown, that it's just information. Don't worry about it, and that's your slate. And while that's true, you're absolutely right. Like, you can tell about a
Yes.
person how they slate. Like, if you're all uptight and shitty in your slate, but you have a good scene, they're gonna be like, why is that person so fucked up in their slate?
It's true. And some people are, just kind of like they're all business in their slate and you get a sense of their personality. Like, you know what? They get right to it. That's them. And some people are like cracking jokes in their slate. And you're like, you
Right.
know what? They just can't contain it. That's like the personality and not in a bad way. But, like, I just feel like you'd get a little bit of
You get a
a
little
sense
taste.
of something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get the essence.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's important, and also why people shouldn't freak the fuck out so hard about slates. Like, people stress out about slates. It's like, just just say the things. Just
Yeah.
say put your hands up and be stupid. Like, just do the stuff.
I know.
And it doesn't matter if you're perfectly in frame. They don't care if they can see your ab machine in the corner. Like, just
No.
do it. It's not your audition. Just, hi, I'm Josh. I like eggs. Whatever the hell. Like,
Whatever you had to say. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, like, the state of the industry has been weird since the lockdown. I mean, just, we were talking about this earlier in the pre-show where it was just us. Just about the state of the industry and how it's been more slow in general, just with the audition levels and things of that nature, and how names and people that are offer onlys are just kind of sucking up all the roles, and they have been for a number of years now, right?
Yeah, I mean, when there's less production or when things are a little slower, the roles that are available, if people aren't as busy, we see things go out as offers or shortlists go out, and that's who is considered for something. So that that comes down, and we see less auditions happening for roles. So it definitely has felt like things are slower. And yeah, I mean, the pandemic and then strikes and then
the fires.
Wildfire. Yeah. So it's just, there's been a lot. And I think for a lot of actors, for a lot of agents and managers, for a lot of casting people, a lot of conversations that I have are everybody loves the business, wants to do it, but it can be tough because when it's not busy, we all are like, oh
yeah, come on, what the fuck? Yeah. Well, because it's hard on everybody, right? Like if there's not stuff to do, like if there's not things to cast, if there's not things to put out a breakdown for, then the money for everybody is not happening. Like people think that like it's just it's just on the actors, like they're the ones that are like getting monetarily screwed. And it's like there's a lot of people, like there's a whole ecosystem. It's the agents and the managers and the casting directors, crews, writers, directors, like everybody, like the whole ecosystem is getting like a little fucked right now, and has been for a bit. And we're hoping that it's supposed to start to uptick in the next couple of months. I mean, like we're supposed to go into episodic season, but like there are no seasons anymore, right?
Yeah. Streaming's changed everything. It doesn't really follow the traditional network seasons anymore, which can be good because I guess in some ways, if then it wasn't busy by a certain time, you're like, it's not going to be busy, we're going to not. But now it's like, well, it doesn't follow that. So it can, happen, new projects, pilots at different times of the year, episodic season can, so I feel like we can see busyness at different times. So that's good. So we can look forward, and I keep hearing, it's going to be getting busier. So that's good. And, I do think sometimes when it is really busy, and we know how that is when there's so much happening that it feels like I need to take a breath, and now we have like time. And so there is time. And I think it's wonderful, when my clients have time to, to write, to work on their own personal projects. And I know for me, there's things that I like to do that I feel like fuel my creativity. And I think we all need that in this business too. And so when you can, use the time not to stress, but to just be, and, I think that's productive too.
I think that's why I'm always trying to do something, is because like, if I don't, I worry, like I get worried, and I'm like, oh my God, like what am I going to do? Like this is because I'm bad. Like this is because I have a bad look. This is because I'm whatever, and which is not true. It's all crazy. Like I've got a great resume. I've had a great career so far, and it's not the end. It's just going to keep getting better and better and better. And I know that logically because of all the work and all the foundations and all the blah 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 blah. But your mind just goes like, I'm gonna fucking, and so if I can refocus that into other stuff, it certainly does help. And you're right, it only adds to your work moving forward. It's enrichment, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, I know. And you've been reaching out to people that and I think that's wonderful. That's when things, when there's quiet or when things are a little slower, I think it's a great time to like connect with people and see what they're up to. And I feel like we all do that, whether it be over phone calls or emails of just casting directors will reach out to me and say, hey, what are you up to? Are you busy? Yeah. And I'll reach out to people and say, I haven't talked to you in a little bit. What's happening? And I feel like that can be good too, because you sort of realize like, everybody's in the same boat. We all have the same ups and downs, but then also you get to connect, whereas when you're really busy and they're, casting directors are working on tons of stuff and we're crazy busy on this end, you don't always have time to do that. So
no,
it's nice
and you can't, and it can be an annoyance. Like you can be annoying people, and that's the last thing that you want to do. Like I remember back when we used to mail people postcards and stuff. Like a lot of offices, they'd be like, please limit your postcards to like twice a year. and make sure that you actually have something to say to us. Don't just say like, I read a new book and it was really good. We don't care. We know who you are.
I
Like,
know.
we don't need to know any of that stuff. And I feel like now that, the postcard, like, who mails stuff anymore? Like, I remember even when we first started working together, like, I mailed you my headshots in a big manila envelope.
I
And
know.
then you were like, ooh, I need these.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I mean, that's how, like, it used to be like piles and piles and piles of mail. Now I feel like it's the same thing. It's like piles and piles and piles of email. So I'm like one of those people that when I get the mail now, I'm like, oh, yay, I get to, like, it's so little actual mail.
Right. You're like, oh,
This
hooray,
is
I can open this.
cool.
Oh, that reminds me, I have to come to your office for that mail that got
I
mailed.
know.
I just
Yes.
realized that. So, chat, people mail me fan stuff to Ingrid's office, and it makes me feel really cool. And there's something there. A person mailed me a Christmas present that I need to go see what it is. I hope it's not like a dildo, but yeah, I hope it's something cool.
We'll see. I've got it waiting for you.
We'll see. It could be something I don't want to look at. No, but yeah, we'll work that out.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. Well, it's been over an hour, Ingrid.
Well, this has been fun. That flew by. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it goes fast, and like, especially when you're having fun and it's a good conversation. Let me see. I like to end on like a final question. Let me rack my brain. Where do you see the agents, the management company in the next 5-10 years? Where do you see yourself?
I think growing, but I feel like in a way that I think one of the things that I look forward to doing more of is working with clients and not only helping bring opportunity to them, but also helping to develop projects with and for them. And, at some point venture a little more into the production side as well. And that's just, it's something that I'm interested in. I feel like just as another way to help the clients that I work with. And so that's something that's on my radar.
What are you looking to produce? That's a question for no reason.
Well, I'm open. I'm thinking about, that it's just starting to sort of formulate of, I don't know.
Well, so what do you think your first, like, would it be like a short? Would it be a feature pilot?
I just feel like, I think initially it'll sort of be bringing people together. I feel like I have wonderful actors, and then I know amazing directors, and then I know, and I want to sort of start by bringing people together. A lot of clients will show me their projects and things that they're doing and working on, and I want to start by connecting, really working more to connect the dots on some of those things. And I think just venture into really working towards bringing some of those about, because some amazing stuff crosses my desk, and I help in the ways that I do now, but I think with actual, my office working to produce some of those things. And we'll see what it leads to.
And in like a creative role, like in an executive producer type of way, like how would in your beginnings of the vision, like what does that look like?
Yeah, I think first working to bring everybody together in sort of like an executive producer kind of way, and then working to help also secure the funding and getting that together and helping clients with that. And so I'm open to what exactly it's going to look like, but that's just something that I feel like is on the horizon. We'll see.
Yeah, that makes sense. that's cool, and I think that that's something that you should absolutely get into. I think you'd be really good at it. I mean, just and it's kind of like because a lot of people are like, I want to do a lot of packaging, right? So this sounds like not that.
No, yeah, it's slightly different than that. I think, I don't know. I feel like um, my vision is coming together, but I think it's going to be more of just like really working on projects that I have clients that are really passionate about and are a big part of, whether it's that they're writing them for themselves or they're in them or they have something that maybe is a web series and looking to put it in the hands of somebody that can turn it into something bigger or something for streaming. And
That's
I
great.
think those types of things. And I don't know, we've also been talking in the office about venturing a little more into the music side of things for some of our clients.
That's
So those are
cool.
some of the things that are
I mean,
kind of
just like
floating
I'm
around.
always trying to find funding, like, and that is one of the hardest things
Yeah.
to do. I mean, because there's a lot of people don't know that there's a lot of complicated ins and outs when it comes to securing funding. Like I've had some experiences where just like rich dudes are like, I think you're cool. Here's a fuck ton of money to make your thing, and that's great. But most of the time, it's like lawyers and offer sheets and like rate sheets and percentages and blah 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 and all that stuff. And when people are trying to make things, they run into that and they're like, I don't even know where to start. So
Yeah.
I think that's very valuable to offer, especially if you can find some sort of like mutualism in the whole thing. So I think that's
Yeah.
sick. I think that's great. Yeah.
I'm excited. I feel like it's, I love what I do. I love my current day to day, but I feel like, as we all want to do.
Yeah, you want to expand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Ingrid, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It
This
was
was so much
wonderful to be
fun.
here.
Yeah, it was
It
so
was
cool. And I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Good night.
Thanks. Good night. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here for this bit over an hour of wonderful conversation. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're watching it on Instagram, thank you. I don't know what you're supposed to do there. If you're watching it on Facebook, please like and share. And hey, TikTok, thanks for being here for the first time. If you like this, share it. I think you can give me a gift or something. I don't know what that means. There's coins you can buy. I don't know what that means at all. But just thank you for being here, for watching, for asking questions, for participating. And I'll see you all next week on the live stream live. And of course, before I go, please go buy coffee from Lucas Roasting Company. They sponsor my show. It's an amazing family. I don't make any money from this promo code. They just want you to try their coffee. It's a really good coffee, and they just won best coffee in New Hampshire for the 5th year in a row. So anyway, good night. I appreciate you being here. I love you. Goodbye. See you later.